If you don't know, I'm so excited for Splatoon 2. Yes, I knew it! I knew it was going to be a second one. Everyone's like, oh, it's just going to be a port. Yay! I played a super buttload of the original Splatoon on the Wii U. I got to S+, dropped to A+, went back to S+, and then sat around S for a while. I took a break for about a year and then got back into it again. I took a break just because of school and playing Overwatch. Yay! So what I wanted to do is just go through the trailer and maybe some of the gameplay and kind of just talk about it and talk about my thoughts. This is kind of just, I'm going to talk about what is interesting to me, kind of talk about some of the different things that stood out to me. It's not a full in-depth analysis because I have not had enough sleep, but it is what I found interesting and little stuff. I'm not going to pause too much. It's mainly new hairstyles, new clothes, new shoes, new pants, which pants wasn't even a thing in the last game. Alright. Alright, so this is what I thought was interesting. I don't think anyone was able to play this map in the demo. I don't know, I wasn't there. But from what I saw from the Nintendo Treehouse, they really only played on the one map. I think it was called the Reef. I couldn't really tell. What's interesting about this place is that it's a rock climbing gym-ish. It's kind of weird but cool. You can even see some of the blue guys climbing around on the rocks and some on the scaffoldings. It's interesting. What this map kind of reminds me of a little bit is Moray Towers, mainly because you have a whole starting area. You could jump down, kind of like a Moray Towers, or go down the little stairway and then just come back around. But the cool area, I think, is the middle area right there, which is probably, if they have splat zones, it's going to be a zone. It looks like this kind of map would just be a one-zone area, and that'd be sit directly in the middle, have to take control of that zone. Here's where you can see the gas mask, paint mask kind of thing, and the guy on the right has some pretty sweet headphones. I've always really liked the headphones. Also, this guy has a glove and a wristband. I don't know if that's normal, but I just noticed. This is the map that they're going to be showing through most of the gameplay demos on Treehouse. My idea, I think, so I'm just thinking in terms of if Splat Zones is another ranked mode. If Splat Zones is a mode, I think this would be a double zone map, maybe right here and right here, like this side being our zone if we're the green team, and then that side being their zone if we're the green team. But it's also possible that could be the zone under the bridge, and just a one zone map. I don't know, and we're not going to know until the game comes out or they tell us more details. I don't notice much too interesting about this map, except for the car. This whole map looks kind of like a train stop area or bus stop area, like just streets, or like an intersection. There's like a bus stop in the corner, bus stop in the corner, bus stop, car parked in the parking spaces, but really bad parking. This is cool, I think. This looks like it goes pretty quick, so you don't even notice, but this looks like a concert arena. Like, here's the stage, maybe on some sort of pier, like a kind of a concert stadium towards the ocean. That's what it makes me think of, maybe because I live in Florida, and we have a lot of outdoor concerts. But what's cool about this is I'm pretty sure how this map's going to go, and it shows a little bit later, is that the stage is probably going to be the middle section of the map, and then the players spawn on that side while your team spawns on this side, and it'll be symmetrical on both sides because that's how they love to design their maps. Those two people got destroyed. That person got destroyed, and that person got destroyed. Here's the rock climbing wall again. You can see a lot more detail of the background of the map. And there's the stage again. I thought this was really cool. So it's more 8 towers, but they added the pipelines that were in the single-player campaign for Splatoon 1. I had always thought it'd be cool to see those in multiplayer, but never really knew how it would fit. And this is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if you'd be able to shoot your enemies while they're in a pipe, or be able to track them or anything like that. I don't even know if it'd be a good idea to be in them or not. It might be easy for people to pick you off. It might be even easier for snipers to be standing up on snipe and hit off people in the pipelines. I don't know. It'd probably look hilarious. This is crazy. So the sniper rifles have a big change. I don't know if it's all the chargers, but I know it's this charger at least. So you can charge up a shot, go into ink, move into a better position, come out of the ink, and immediately your gun is fully charged and you are able to release a shot. In the first game, if you don't know, you had to charge, and if you went into ink when you had full charge, you would lose your charge. So when you come out of the ink, you had to recharge your shot. But in this game, it seems like they decided that you don't need to recharge your shot when you come out of the ink. That's kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about it yet, because I haven't played it, but I can see kind of good players charging shots while they're under cover, going in ink, and then swimming up to a really good position and popping out real fast and just popping, getting people. Kind of very unexpected because people aren't able to see where they're standing. Those are the dualies. Now this is the weird stuff that I'm not used to. So I think it's only with the dualies that you can do this. It's kind of this roll ability. And it's interesting. It's cool. I think dualies are going to be the new Tenatech or the new Octoshot. Like, a lot of people are going to play it because it's very cool, very stylish, fast to kill. You can get in there and get out. My thoughts on the roll in this playthrough. That I think there could be really good with the roll, really bad. If you're up in high level play, I have a feeling that the rolls will be spammed a lot. If you ever played the recent Star Wars Battlefront, you know what I mean when rolls are spammed a lot and it's frustrating. I feel like that's going to be annoying to play against an enemy team, but it looks like you only can do about 2 rolls before you can't anymore. That's the max they've shown in a sequence. But my issue I have with, I think, is like, one, it's like, yeah, it might be really frustrating. It might be really hard to deal with. But on the other hand, it's possibly could be easy to deal with, actually, because you could, if you get good, be able to predict the distance of each roll. So if you see someone rolling, they can't shoot you while they're rolling, but you could still be standing there and be clear as day, be able to shoot them. So you might be able to line up your shot right where they're going to stop and be starting to shoot, and you might be able to kill them before they're even ready to shoot you. So I don't know. It's like, on one hand, it's like you could really fake someone out with the rolls and get some good kills on people, but on the other hand, it may make you predictable. I know it's kind of contradicting. I think it's really going to depend on the skills of the players. It's really going to depend on, one, the person who is doing the rolling, and if they are able to kind of trick out their opponent and get some clean shots and make them not expect where they're going to be. But on the other hand, a good opponent who isn't rolling, who's watching the roller, I think if they're good at predictions, I think they'd win the fight. But if they miss the prediction of where they're going to be, I think they'll lose the fight. Also, the stationary thing, if this guy gets wrecked because he's stationary. So this is interesting that they kind of... It's interesting that they bounce off the wall. Could do some really pretty funny bounce off the wall shots, like throw that behind someone, it misses, but it bounces back and hits them in the back. Like, I could see some of that happening. It'd be funny. I don't know how useful it's going to be, but you never know. And then right there, the new roller ability. Some people were confused and thought that, oh, it's just a brand new roller that only shoots in a straight line. But it's not. In the Treehouse, which I'll show a little bit later too, they talk about if you jump and then flick, it'll put the ink in a straight narrow line. At first I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, I'm so used to just the wide spread of the rollers. So it might be a little nervous. But I did realize that they nerfed the rollers in Splatoon 1 a long time ago to where, like, the only middle part of the roller shot really does a big chunk of damage. Like, if you're hitting someone to the side of your spread, it's not going to do much at all. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, the damage is right in the middle. You're just not going to really do much on the sides. So it's just more visual. You're able to see that. This is pretty legit. So I was nervous thinking about the Switch, and if Splatoon is actually going on the Switch, how would maps go? And this is interesting to me. I knew that the map would most likely pop up on the screen, but I didn't know if, like, we'd have to point at the screen to select someone. I knew it'd be very panicky if we had to do that, and it wouldn't make sense if we had certain control options. So this is pretty cool that you can do the arrow keys to select the different people. But the tiny detail that I like was these little arrows on the player icons in the map. At first I thought, oh, it's just pointing to wherever their name is on the screen. Like, oh, his name's on the left, pointing to the left. Name's on the right, pointing to the right. But what it's actually doing is telling you the arrow direction for each person. So no matter where they are on the map, it's going to be pointing to that. And that is like a very quick way to be able to tell how you could quickly squid jump to that person. Instead of trying to click it or find it, you can just, you see the arrow and click and hold A, click and go. Oh, and then also the quick down arrow to go to the spawn point is super nice. The last thing I really like is, one, their whole team has like a completely synchronized gear set, which is hilarious. But also that you can see everyone's weapons, because apparently you can switch your weapons in the middle of battle. And then squid jumping. My last little detail I think I have to say, is not a lot, is that the ink, especially on this shot, the ink looks so nice. Like, the ink, you don't notice it as much until these last few shots of how it looks so much more updated. The lighting on it it's more reflective, the ink, it looks very beautiful. And the splashes looks like very realistic water. I mean, it does a little bit in the original, but it looks way better in this. Oh, and then right there we see one of those crazy, like, bounce off the wall things. And I think, I can't tell if it seeks onto him or if that's just the timer from it about to explode. And then we got the new cat. There's Judd, but then Judd gets destroyed by whoever the heck that imposter is. Bomb Rush. Bomb Rush is back. It's good to know. Everyone's like, oh, all the specials are completely changed, but I don't think so. Unless this is the weapon and it's a bomb launcher. Now this is weird. I can't tell what this weapon is. And there's one of the special weapons. It's like this weird CO2 tank. The guy on the treehouse said it goes through walls, but I don't know if I believe him. Alright. This is interesting. Again, if we have splat zones, this is going to be a crazy strong special to have. Just cover up a whole point to the brain. The jetpack that turns your gun into a blaster, essentially. And this is like a spirit bomb. Finally, really quick, just an interesting, weird creature. It looks like a baby sea urchin almost. Like a child sea urchin, maybe a child of Spike. And as you can tell, he has eaten the sea snails. The things, I have no idea what they're called, jumping around on skateboards, and it's the spots. random detail I noticed, there's an arcade machine right there. And that whole little replay store right here, it looks like there's a lot of arcade machines. I think this building, I think it's going to be an arcade room where you can play arcade games. That's my theory. You can see kind of arcade stuff in the background. See one right outside the house. You can see a bunch of sprite kind of designs on the windows. I think it's going to be an arcade where you can replay a bunch of games, like mini games and stuff. But I don't know. It could also be like two-player, multiplayer battle-ish things. I have no idea, but it's a replay symbol. So. Here's all the Octo Monster things from the campaign, and we'll look at this crazy boss. You can tell this is going to be a boss in the campaign. There's like the face, you're going to have to fight it, and then you knock him over, and he's like actually a helicopter, and there's a thing piloting it. Pretty weird. These things are always pretty creepy. I don't really want to talk about these much. An evil pigeon. This, I don't know what to think. There's a lot of weird theories of Marie is lost and we need to find her. It's like a story. Or why is Marie alone? Did Callie and Marie split up and like they're separated? Is Marie back to being a spy and Callie still doing music? Is Marie actually evil? And this is where you find her and you have to seize a boss fight. Like, I don't know. Looks like a cutscene. Here's the shrimp dude who sells shoes, I think. And I don't know why he's selling food. And here's like a final shot of the town. It's very different. The only crazy thing that I notice is the Zapfish is not around the skyscraper. And does that have something to do with the story? I don't know. Does the Zapfish even matter anymore? I don't know. It looks like a different area of town, though, so maybe it really doesn't have anything to do with this area. Like, it's powering the city, but we're in a different area. I don't know. Yeah. And then the awesome Splatoon 2 logo. Yay! Alright, cool. Now he's at the Treehouse presentation. I don't have much to show from this.
Yes, this game is actually happening. It's not a port. This is a brand new game.
Alright, so here's kind of what the player screen will look like. It looks a little more simplified, but at the same time, a little more detailed. It's weird. And this might not even be final.
Dude, pretty good, man. I mean, you know, getting a chance to stand up and play some games, this is really...
It's a normal turf war. I think the little car in the parking spaces is funny, because it's parked absolutely terribly, taking up these 3 or 4 parking spaces. And... like being a jerk.
So I played a lot of Splatoon with JC. I know he's a talented individual, talented player. So let's see how he does. So the Splat Doolies, you can see he has 2 reticles. So it's actually, you have a little bit of spread to your shots. One of the, he's painting the Jeep for some reason. It doesn't count towards his Turf War goal, but that's cool. So I should mention this game mode is called Turf War. Turf War is a game mode in which you kind of try to cover the most turf. So you have 2 teams of 4 Inklings. They're spraying the ground with ink, trying to cover as much ground as they can. And when the time runs out, whoever's covered the most ground wins the match. So JC is using the Splat Doolies here. You can see, ooh, come on, JC, you got this. Nice.
That right there, that kind of quick, bam, bam, like out, like juked him out. Those are cool. I like those. But I think if the enemy player has fast aim, they could maybe deal with that.
And in addition, when you use that, so you can see his reticle, the 2 reticles actually become 1 right after he uses that dodge roll. And that enables him to fire more accurately and more quickly, so he can actually use that to just, you know, pop behind someone, flank them with that dodge roll, and then light them up really quick.
So people are going to be spamming that rolling, you believe me.
So, ooh, use a special, yes. So one thing I should mention is the specials in this game are all brand new. So there's not a single special in this game that anyone has ever seen in a Splatoon game before. That
special's not super impressive to me. It's like a jetpack, but slow and a blaster. I think if people were smart, they could easily get away from it as soon as you see someone launch it off. You just sprint or swim away and hide.
Was the ink jet. It's a it's kind of this jet pack that you hover up into the air and then you fire these ink blobs down at people and they explode. And it's really powerful, but it actually leaves you very vulnerable as well because you're kind of in this position where everyone can see you in the air. And in addition, when the special expires, you actually go back to the point that you took off from. So people can kind of camp that. So you have to be smart about when you're using it, be aware of where you are when you use it, and all of that. JC's doing pretty well here, splatting some fools. So it looks like he has the suction bombs. Yes, use that. Use it. Oh, it's a teammate. Okay, next time. You'll get him next time. So in this weapon set, he has the suction bomb, which is making the return from Splatoon 1. JC seems to be doing pretty well. How you feeling about this match right now, JC?
I was feeling okay until I got splattered right there, but it's pretty good.
I don't really have much to show in the gameplay and everything. You can kind of watch all the gameplay yourself. But this is cool.
This stage, this is a brand...
That hairstyle on the right looks legit.
So the charger, as you know, you charge it up, and when it's full, you can fire and then do a lot of damage. You can actually splat someone in one shot with the charger. But this time around, you can actually save your charge, so you can store it. So he's fully charged. You can see there on his ink meter, as he is fully charged, there's this gray part at the top of the ink meter, and that represents his charge that is stored. So he can actually charge it up, move positions in the ink, pop up, and then immediately blast. Oh, you're in trouble. He can immediately throw out a fully charged charger shot, which really just opens the entire game up for chargers. I think it makes it much more versatile option. You're so much more mobile now than you were in Splatoon 1 with chargers. And I think high-level play with that is just going to be insane. So Nate just charged up his special. This is, ooh, nice, called the Stingray. He actually did it right there. So the Stingray flies through the entire level, through walls, and splats anyone it touches. So you can...
This is where I don't understand. It doesn't look like it's going through any walls.
More mobile now than you were in
He says it can go through a wall, but I don't know if I believe him.
2-1 with chargers. And I think high-level play with that is just going to be insane. So Nate just charged up his special.
Like you can see it getting stuck on the concrete little barrier in the tree in the ground before it even hits someone.
This is, ooh, nice. Called the Stingray. It's going to be insane. So Nate just charged up his special. This is, ooh, nice. Called the
But I don't know because at the same time,
Stingray. He actually did it right there.
It hit someone through the floor.
So the Stingray flies through the entire level, through walls, and splats anyone it touches. So you can shoot through walls. So you can, I mean, there are a lot of different ways to use it. You kind of need to find a good position, and then you can actually hide in the corner of the level and basically just like sweep through and ink people. So you can see in the bottom left corner of the screen, you still have your, this way, booyah. So, we listen to you guys. I know that before that said come on, and that kind of, for some people, we read the boards. I see you, our Splatoon. And
what about squid boards?
And we decided to change that a bit to shore up some of that communication disconnect. But one thing we haven't talked much about is the story this time around in Splatoon. Splatoon 2 takes place 2 years after the events of Splatoon 1, and it's going to be really interesting. We can't really talk too much about what's going on, but you might see, the return of some of your favorite characters, which I'm super psyched about, having localized the first game. I love Callie, Marie, all their voices, so you're able to
another little thing,
more versatile. So we'll see that.
Look at all this crazy
here.
hair.
Obviously, we just saw.
Look at that, like in the hat where hair's coming out. It looks so awesome, and it's even kind of a little curly. I like that.
That with the charger, being able to store your charge, but this time around, so the roller is a kind of paint roller-esque weapon, except you're using ink, and you can roll it across the ground, but you can also press the attack button to fling out this wall of ink. This kind of wall that's kind of wide. But if you jump and then you hit the swing button, you actually fling a vertical, see that? So it's a more vertical, or like a thinner stream of ink that travels farther. So you can actually use that to your advantage. You kind of choose which option is going to be best for you in your situation. So Kendra has charged up her special. This is one of my favorite new specials. So, so the splashdown. So the splashdown, what she can do is if she super jumps to an opponent, to a teammate rather, she can activate the special in midair, and that's going to allow her so when she lands, you'll see it. Let's do it. Did you get splatted? What happened? Okay. All right. So she jumps up in the air. Oh, she activates her special, and as she lands, she actually hits the ground and causes this ink explosion where this wave of ink comes out. So that's a really, really valuable move. Let's say you have a teammate who's pinned down somewhere with 3 enemy inklings like surrounding you. You can actually jump to them with an offensive move and kind of splat everyone in the area, which is super cool. So this set also has a new bomb. So this is the curling bomb. You might, be familiar with the sport of curling. I know you guys all love to curl. But you take this curling stone bomb and you toss it out there. It slides across the ground, bouncing off of everything it touches, and then explodes if it gets in proximity of another inkling. Oh, you got a special. Let's see this.
So it doesn't seek.
Oh, use it. So with this special, you can super jump to an opponent and use it, and it'll be there when you land. But you can actually just use it standalone. Boosh. Oh, just like that. And that will, again, kind of cause this explosion all around you. So Kendra had pulled up the map to super jump. So you can pull up the map any moment with the press of the X button. That's going to, you can do that in the split second to kind of check, your status of your team, how well you guys are doing. Also see where the enemy's at based on their ink spread and that sort of thing. You are tearing it up right now. You got this. Take that dude out. Ooh, you cornered, stuck in the ink. Oh, wait, someone else. What? Oh, did you see that? So do this. Ooh, yes. 2. That 2's not bad. Let's see what hits. Oh, no kills out of that, though. What are you going to do?
Yeet! Yeet! Yeet!